leg. So I don't think I followed instructions well because I don't know when I'm supposed to do the intro. I think I still have a minute.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Global 25 Unlocked, New Value for Corporate Mobility Leaders. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Global 25 Unlocked, New Value for Corporate Mobility Leaders. I'm going to hand it off to Tanya to get us started.
Thank you. I am so excited that you are all here today joining us to talk about Work Global 25. Just a brief introduction of me and the folks who are joining today, and then I'm going to set up some things and we're going to get into it. So, Johnny Mariottini, I actually am currently on your WRC board, serving my final year of a 3-year term. I'm also a member of our Corporate Advisory Council, and I'm based here in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I'm part of our planning committee for the conference. So hopefully I can bring a lot of insights as the moderator for the call. Also joining us today is Stephanie Owens with Chick-fil-A, Jaime Suarez with PepsiCo, and Charles Ameno with Intuit. So first, before we hear from our amazing panelists, I made a list, but there's so many things happening at Work Global 25 for corporates only. So I'm going to tee these off and then we're going to dig into them more. So first of all, immigration and tax summits. I know that we had an immigration summit the last few years and it was wildly successful. This year, we're going to have the first tax summit ever. What's the best part? They're free for corporates this year. So if you haven't already signed up, you want to look into that. We're going to talk more about it. There's also going to be an invite-only corporate senior leader reception on Tuesday night. You'll get a chance to network. You'll get a chance to talk to different leaders with our industry segments. It's a don't miss opportunity. Another first, again, at Work Global 25. So there is going to be a benchmarking session. It's the first time in 6 years that we've done a corporate benchmark. Many of you corporates who have already signed up, you got sent out a survey, a brief survey to complete. We're going to talk through some of the results of that survey and what our industry looks like. And so again, another can't miss opportunity. We've also this year, for those of you, again, corporate roundtables, it's one of the best parts, the networking, the getting to learn best practices from others. This year, thanks to everyone's feedback, we've actually extended the roundtable to 2 hours. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the roundtables and what you can expect. Additionally, and again, I'm not even touching everything yet, but I just want to tee it up for the call. There is going to be a corporate only exhibit hour. So during the exhibition hall, there's going to be an hour only for corporates to go around and talk to different suppliers and find suppliers that will best meet your needs. And then one of the cool things that we've continued to expand on over the last 3 years is these corporate only labs. These are put on by our sponsors. They're a deep dive for about 25 corporates to get into different topics. They're very hands-on. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So that's just a teaser for some of the things that you can expect at Work Global 25. So with that, I'm actually going to start the conversation with some of our panelists. And first, I'm going to go to Jaime. And Jaime, I would just love to hear from you, like what's different about Work Global 25, and what are you excited about?
Thanks, Tanya. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm super excited about the new location. Personally, this is a new place for me. I've never been to Salt Lake City, so score there. But in all seriousness, I've been in the industry since 2001. I've been a service provider. In the last 15 years, I've been a corporate member of the Go Mobility program at PepsiCo. And our program is robust, it's very mature. We have both international and domestic and large volumes of relocating employees. And I used to attend the work conference every year for my company. Somewhere along the way, I started feeling like the value that I used to gain earlier in my career was diminishing. I found myself at corporate roundtables with relo managers with very different demographics and experience than mine. And then COVID hit and travel wasn't allowed anymore, and I just didn't go back. Um, Last year, I joined the Work Corporate Advisory Board, and I got to hear firsthand from work leadership from Anupam. I could feel this new energy and a new direction that he's taking the organization. He doesn't just say for corporates, by corporates, he's leading the change. He comes to our meetings to share the changes he's making, and then he sends his team to the meetings and they ask engaging questions of us and they ask clarifying questions. You can tell they're really engaged in understanding what is important to the corporate members. And so I see work shifting to a more corporate first mentality. You mentioned a long list of these corporate centered activities that are going to be at the conference. And I'm really excited because I kind of feel like a new attendee again, because it sounds like there's so much new stuff to experience. How you can build your own conference and how they really have different options from a novice corporate member to an advanced corporate member with a more mature program. I didn't get to go to the conference last year, but my colleagues in the Corporate Advisory Council confirmed that there really was a new energy, and I'm really excited to experience it. So from what I've heard, this is not the conference we remember, that it's rebuilt for corporates.
Absolutely, 100%. And I appreciate that. And Jaime, thanks too for highlighting. Like I mentioned, I'm based here in the greater Salt Lake City area. And I share your excitement. This first time ever that WRC has been hosted in Salt Lake. So we want you to go to all the events and the education sessions and all the things I mentioned. But it's such a beautiful city. And I'm just really excited to host everybody here for a new experience. And one of the great things about Salt Lake, which if you all haven't picked up on already when you're registering, it's a lower cost location. The hotels are, I think, half the price of the hotels last year. The travel is significantly less expensive. So we recognize, right, that many of us are still travel budget constrained, but hopefully it's one of the things that we've been looking at is how do we bring a great conference experience, but also do it in a really cost-effective way for all of our members. So excited to host you here. And Jaime, I feel like you teed us off in a really good place, which is that there's so much for different people at different levels for attending. And so I want to go over to Stephanie. And Stephanie, I would love it if you can tell us a little bit about, you've launched really this Corporate Buddy initiative this year. Maybe you could share a little bit about that with the audience and how folks can get involved.
Yeah, sure, Tanya. Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I'm super excited about this year's buddy program. So, I've attended conferences for a few years now. I think my first one was 2018. I don't know, I stopped counting. But I started realizing year after year that there were a lot of new global mobility professionals that were either reluctant or not sure if they wanted to attend because they didn't really know the value of attending such a conference. And I think we're doing a really good job year after year in making it tailored to also those first-time attendees. And I also realize, being in Atlanta, being on the board of MARC and meeting with people here, that a lot of people are scared to go for the first time. It's kind of, it's you don't know anybody, everybody knows each other. And so uh, we thought about this buddy program where we would pair you with somebody more experienced that have been there year after year. So that is not as scary. You have a friendly face you can connect with. It doesn't have to be a lot. And I am very, very grateful and thankful to all the experienced corporate attendees that have raised their hands to come and help. So we have a list of people still waiting to be paired. Take advantage of the program. You can make it as lengthy or as short as you want. It's really making your own, but it's really to have that person to connect with, and that knows the ins and outs of the
And
conference,
And
right?
Stephanie, I love that. And I remember when I first started in this industry, and I'm not going to say what was my first conference because it was a lot longer ago than yours, but it can feel hard because we're a very tight knit community and a lot of people know each other. And so, to your point, it can be really hard to break in. So, that's why I love the idea of the buddy program. Can you tell people who are on this call if they want to get involved, if they want to be someone's buddy, if they need a buddy because they're first time attendee, or maybe they've attended in the past, but to your point, maybe they didn't get maximum value. What should they do?
Yeah, no, just reach out to me. I'm actually partnering also with Michael Smith. So reach out to any of us on LinkedIn, just message us and we'll get you connected.
Awesome. And
Still
so
got a few weeks left, right?
yeah, I was
To
gonna say
find it.
now in
Yeah,
between the
yeah,
conference, we just need to know at least a week before so we can get you
yeah.
paired up. But I'm really excited about that. And I know one of the things we talked about too is like, what are other ways? Maybe I'll ask you, Stephanie, instead of saying, but what are other ways that newer people, or maybe even Jamie, to your point, people who maybe haven't come to the conference in a while, like what are different ways that they can get engaged at the event?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, you talked about the lab. It's fantastic, especially because it creates smaller groups with very tailored conversations and a lot of key takeaways, even if it's a topic you don't think you're gonna like, you know. And this is by invitation only for corporate, so that's a great way to meet people. I love every single time the corporate roundtable because you rotate, you meet people, especially for first timers. It's fantastic. And now this year, what's new on the website is that you can go and look at the schedule, right? And you can open it up and it tells you which topics are either for beginners or advanced, because that's also an unknown for first timers is I'm going to go attend this session on tax, for example, and I don't know anything about tax. Like, why would I attend it, right? And so that's what I love this year too. It kind of tags the sessions too for first timers.
No, absolutely. Am I
Yeah.
attending a PhD level class, or am I attending
Right.
a 100 level class? And for all of us, I mean, even for me, depending on the topic, some of them I'm only at the 100 level, right? So it's nice that that's been tagged out there. The other thing I would call out is that on Tuesday evening there is a first time attendees. I'm going to call it a happy hour, but it's a little get together, and it's a really nice opportunity to meet other folks who also maybe they're a solo traveler, or they haven't attended before, haven't attended recently, to meet up with some folks too. So the buddy program, go to the first time attendees on Tuesday night and get connected. And with that, I'm gonna shift to Charles, but kind of pivot off some of what Jamie shared. So Jamie and Charles both sit on the Corporate Advisory Council. And I know Jamie touched on a little bit about how corporates have influenced the content and making this really geared towards corporate. But I wanted to give you the opportunity, Charles, to share if you had any other thoughts on how the Corporate Advisory Council has helped shape the conference this year.
Yeah, thanks. I think the Corporate Advisory Council has been engaged at a level that we haven't been engaged in the past in helping to shape the conference so that the sessions have real deliverables for us. And so there are actual things that we can take away. I think like everyone, like the others on the panel here, I've attended a lot of ERCs and I've always felt that there was value, but primarily there were many times that I left a conference and I said, well, the value was getting to meet my current providers and maybe meet some new providers, but I didn't really learn much about the discipline, about the actual nuts and bolts of global mobility. And so I think that we have really been able to influence the direction of the conference to include very salient hot topics, things that are on everyone's mind right now with different speakers than we have. So the opportunity to hear different people. I know people probably get sick of hearing me talk about the same things all the time. And I get asked to, present in, local and regional and ERC. And so some really good speakers who we haven't all heard from before. And I think that's excellent. So I'm just very excited about the level of engagement that work has had with the corporate members to help shape what this conference will look like.
No, that's awesome. And I should have started with two, if everyone doesn't know, but the Corporate Advisory Council, it's about 30 corporates, different size, different industry segment, that have volunteered their time to meet on a regular basis to help provide input and represent corporate members. So I just really appreciate Jaime and Charles both being part of that and giving back. And I too, to just add on to what Charles said at the beginning, like when we say real takeaways, like we're literally asking the different folks who are doing the sessions to put together takeaways from these sessions that will be shared. So it's not just like, oh, I took a picture of one of the slides, or like I took some notes. Like we're asking them up front to be really clear what those takeaways are, and to then share some of that back out with participants. So I'm really excited about that post. And so, sorry, go ahead, Charles.
Tanya, one thing I want to say too, that
Yeah.
just to add on what you were talking about, cost. Obviously, Salt Lake City is less expensive as a location, but the free corporate attendance is huge. I mean, if I'm able to come myself and also bring two other people off my team, and if it weren't for this conference being in a lower cost location and for up to two corporates per company being able to attend for free, I don't know that any of us would necessarily be able to go in this cost environment. So a really, really huge benefit is that fact that for corporate members, it is free.
And thank you for that, Charles. So if you're listening to this session, which was intended for corporates, and you haven't registered yet, as Charles said, it is free to attend. And as we'll get into next a little bit more with Charles, on the tax and immigration summits, they're also free to attend. So minus the travel costs, right? And hopefully you can use some miles or do some other things. Like it's a very affordable way that, like Stephanie and Jaime were talking about, should bring so much value to you in your career and going forward, especially with all the work that's gone into curating all of the information. So I want to do, Charles, because we talked ahead of time, I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive with you because I know that one of the things that you really talked about is just having that actionable like content. And you had shared a little bit about your enthusiasm for some of the summits. So maybe you can share a little bit more with people who haven't attended a summit, what that is and what they could expect.
Yeah. So first of all, I love the fact that this conference is a build your own adventure, right? It is you don't have to follow one track. There are lots of different ways to go and mix and match. For me, for somebody who's been in the industry for a long time, I love the fact that there are going to be in immigration and the tax carve out sessions where we're really going to deep dive into those topics, because I'm beyond the base level of knowledge. And so for me, I really want to participate in those sessions. And I'm like, they're one of the biggest selling points for me for this conference, is the fact we'll have the ability to really deep dive into those areas. And yeah, I'm just really excited about that. But I'm excited about all of the sessions. Honestly, when I went through and read the session descriptions, sometimes you're looking at a meeting and you're like, yeah, maybe these don't sound great. I was able to, unfortunately, I think, overschedule what I want to do while I'm there, which is not a good place to be in, but yeah, so I really love the idea that there's the ability to deep dive. I love that there's places for beginners to get information, and there are, the roundtables and the benchmarking sessions, and those are all very important. But for those of us who have a lot of background and experience, I really, really am enthused about the idea that we're going to deep dive into two very important topics.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I won't put you on the spot again, Charles, so maybe we'll have someone else. But one of the questions that you touched on is like, there is so much incredible content, right? And I know Stephanie talked a little bit about the AI labs, which I can talk about a little bit more too, but some of it's concurrent, right? Like it's happening at the same time. And so like, how do you attend it all, or how do you prioritize, and like things that come to mind, like, maybe, because I love your choose your own adventure, like maybe you're there for personal development. Maybe you're really thinking about like team deliverables and goals and work. Maybe you're really thinking your broader company strategy and how do you connect your mobility programs. So I'd love to hear from you as you're looking at the content and thinking about all of the incredible corporate opportunities that we've been mentioning. How are you going about choosing your own adventure? Like, what advice would you give to folks who are attending?
Is that towards me?
Yeah, go for it,
Okay,
Jaime.
I'll go for it. Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing is pre-planning and just taking a little time really before you get to the conference to read through the different sessions and see which piques your interest and what are most relevant to what you're doing now and what your goal is for the conference, right? Because once you get there and you are feet on the ground, things start going so fast that you're not going to be able to make as good of a decision. And you might hit yourself later that you missed something because you didn't pre-plan. And a little secret, supposedly Tanya has a great spreadsheet, so maybe we can get her to
My
put it
template.
on the internet and charge a fee for planning your
I can share it
experience.
for free. It's very simple. It's like date, time, like the what, the who, the where, like it just keeps me organized. And not to interrupt Jamie, sorry, but people
No,
have, if you've seen me at prior conferences, I actually printed out just in case I have tech issues and have one piece of paper and it has Stephanie's seen it. It has everywhere I'm supposed to be. And it's the only way because otherwise, yeah, if there's a lot going on, I'll run into someone. I want to talk to them about something in their program or someone will stop me. And so I try to keep some sanity. But yes, for those who know me, I'm a planner and reach out. I'm happy to share my Excel spreadsheet with you.
The app also works great for that, though. I mean,
Yes.
it is really, it has improved so much over what the app used to be in terms of using it to be able to schedule your time and being
Yes.
able to see the calendar in lots of different ways. And I really enjoy using the app as a way to make sure that I've not missed something I want to attend.
Thank you. And I
And
understand. Sorry,
and
Stephanie. Go ahead.
no, I just want to say, Tanya, in addition to what you were saying, I also strategically schedule them where they're located. So
Oh,
I
interesting.
minimize the
Yeah.
number of steps.
Yeah, so I will. So as a sidebar, because I know some of the conference locations, they've been very spread out, and there has been a lot of walking.
Yep.
You can actually see it right now if you go to the website. It'll show you like where the rooms are and where the exhibition hall is and everything. It's a much more condensed space. Which hopefully will help people. And I won't diss any locations, but there were a few locations. Yes, Stephanie, I got an extraordinary number of steps in. But this way, hopefully, you're able to easily get to all the sessions that you want to because they're close proximity at this convention center that we'll be at. So, and yes, the app is great. And what I was going to say earlier is my understanding, based on feedback, again, thanks to everybody, is they're continuing to improve upon it. Because I know one of the challenges I had is like I had personal appointments that I had scheduled in with my work global or conference appointments. And I think this year you should be able to get everything in one place. I'll still have my spreadsheet. If you see me, you can still tease me about it. Some old school. But yeah, the app is a great place. And also I would say for first time attendees as well, you can connect with people on the app ahead of time. If you're looking for someone specifically, you can message them. I've had people message me. I've made appointments to meet up with different folks through the app as well. So definitely make sure you take advantage of that too to feel connected throughout the event. So we've still got quite a bit of time. One of the things that I think would be great to talk about a little bit more, as folks probably have interest, is around I think the AI lab and maybe the corporate roundtables as well. So, or not the AI lab, just the labs in general. Sorry, the very first one was an AI lab and I loved it, so it's always stuck in my brain. But the labs this year, I think there's going to be 4 different labs that are going to be going throughout the week. When you look at the schedule, you'll see them. One is going to be, I don't have super details, invites coming out imminently for folks to have registered in the next few weeks, but one is going to be around benchmarking. One is going to be around driving operational efficiency. I imagine it could have an AI flair because everything seems to be out AI these days. And then one is going to be around simplifying compliance and more. So they're really cool because it's a small group, it's hands-on. You're actually going to be solving things with some supplier partners and they have specific ideas and you're really helping design potentially future technology, future information around benchmarking or best practices. So it's some really cool opportunities for corporates to get involved.
And Tanya, can you share those are invitation only?
Yeah, so those will be invitation only. So another reason if you haven't registered yet to get registered, because those invites, again, they're putting together lists now. Invites will go out in the next couple of weeks. And In talking, I think we all heard this morning, but in talking with the work team too, there will be some sense of like which ones would you most be interested in attending? Because again, we want to maximize your experience and the value you get out of the session. So how can we best connect corporate attendees with some of these lab sessions? So but great question. Yeah, invite only. And then because all of you are complimentary to attend, we'd highly encourage that you participate in those labs. It brings a lot of value to the suppliers. Shout out to the suppliers who help make the conference complimentary and free for all corporates to attend. So really want to make sure that we're recognizing their partnership.
Yeah, and that feeds into one of the questions that came from LinkedIn, which is it important to pre-register for sessions or is it first come, first served? And I know at least in the past, my experience has been the regular sessions have always been open attendance and anybody can come at any time and people will sometimes come and go through those sessions and sometimes they'll bring in extra chairs because it'll be really popular or there'll be a lot of folks standing. So I would say show up early if you want a seat, but they're open to everyone. There's no pre-registration for those sessions. There may be other things, however, that do require pre-registration. And Tanya, as you've been working on this, you may know more than I do about it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when you go through to sign up during registration, the immigration and tax summits do request registration and they do cap out. I don't know how many hundred, but at some point, some of that's based on space limitation, but also just to get the best experience. The first time happy hour, welcome hour is also a registration. Not to say you couldn't drop in, although probably WRC will frown on me that I just said that, but they are trying to understand like how many people and based on the space they have. And the Charles point, like the planning committee has tried to be really intentional on like how, I don't know how to put it, but how popular we think different topics will be and like matching room size. But sometimes there is a topic that's, for whatever reason, surprisingly more popular than we thought. And then, yes, you could be in standing room only. So maybe back to that planning and to Stephanie's point, to know which room is where and how to get there so you can get there early. But that's a great call. And thanks for sharing the question. One of the questions is, when will the app be available? And my friends at WRC have said that the app is available 1 to 2 weeks ahead of the conference. And you should get an email about it if you've registered, and then you can just download the app directly. Everything will show up there. You can add in some of your information too, so folks can reach out to you. And again, you should be able to plug in some of your own personal schedules, so you don't have to be old school like me and have a paper schedule. The other question, it looks like, and thank you for the questions, by the way, these are fabulous because we are here because we want to demonstrate to you how Work Global 25 can bring value. So we want to make sure we're getting your questions answered. So one of them is about materials and recordings of the sessions, since there are so many concurrent sessions. The sessions are typically not recorded. However, the materials from the sessions are often provided out afterwards. Sometimes they're linked out from the app. I know for a few of the sessions, they might have like a QR code that you can download at the end. So there'll be different ways to get the materials afterwards. But I'll just be honest with you, logistically, recording every single session and then getting those videos out for the WRC team it has been a bit much. We've talked about it. So it may be a future thing that we're able to do. And on occasion, some of the suppliers will record some of the individual sessions and you might be able to get it, but I can't consistently say that they're be available for everyone. So I hate to take all the questions. So there's another question: is the corporate only pre-conference cocktail reception happening this year? And the answer is yes. So on Tuesday night, after the first time attendees, there will be a corporate mixer is the best word for it. That is an invite only. And invitations, I think as of this morning, I heard they're putting together that list of folks that'll be invited to that event. But it's a really nice opportunity to get a chance to network with other corporates and talk to some. Anupam will be there, talk to some other folks on the board and who are in leadership just about what's happening in our industry. So stay tuned for that. And again, another reason to register if you haven't already, so you can get one of those invites to that corporate mixer.
Hey, Tanya, I thought it might be good to call out the aren't we doing something new with the exhibit hall? this year where it's like
Yeah,
corporate hour only?
yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
great.
So by popular demand, so I know it was an ask, I think from some of the, again, the corporate members, is that there will be, I think I wrote it down on what day it is, but on Wednesday, before the corporate or the exhibit hall opens to everybody, there'll be 1 hour from 4 to 5 that'll be open for corporates only. I think it'll be just a really nice opportunity. It should also limit, sound weird, but like limit the number of people that are attending. And so you'll get some more, I would say, direct time with some of the exhibitors that are there. And I know, at least for me, and maybe some of you all can speak to it, but it's been a great opportunity if I'm looking for a new supplier, or I know a little bit about a supplier, or maybe I'm thinking about doing an RFP, but I'd really like to talk to them in person. I really like to stop by their booth and introduce myself, have a chat, get a contact information that I can maybe follow up with later. So that'll be a really nice opportunity for corporates to have some dedicated time.
Yeah, I personally love it, Tanya. Even if there's a new technology out there, you never know, and I think it's great to meet people. And some of the feedback I've gotten from first-time attendees was they're a little scared going in there because they feel, maybe it's a little scary. It's an arena, right? Everybody kind of wants to talk to you as a corporate, right? But I think it's good to note that this conference wouldn't be possible without the suppliers, right? I personally have learned a lot by going through the exhibit hall, and plus they always have fun games. So
Yes. Well, and I was going to say too, I know we talked about the education sessions as well. And
yeah,
I know sometimes things can feel a little bit salesy, but I know the content is really designed to be educational this year. And hopefully folks see that and not a sales pitch, which is feedback that we've gotten in the past. But really, again, the conference and our ability to attend is thanks to all of the sponsors, and the sponsors really want to know from all of the corporates, like, what are the problems you're dealing with, how can they help solve them, what's on your mind, how can they partner. Like, they sincerely are there to learn as well and to spend time with you. So I would encourage everybody, to your point, Stephanie, there's no reason to be afraid of anybody in our industry ecosystem. Everybody has good intent, all trying to achieve something, but it's a great opportunity. If you can really be transparent and honest, it can, I think, move our industry forward and help us solve some of the challenges we have.
One of the things I wanted to just add on to that was, a couple of years ago, I was going into an RFP, and it was the conference was the one place where I knew I could have all of the companies that I wanted to talk to and potentially invite to that RFP in one place, and was able to walk around the exhibit hall and speak to each of them, gauge interest in participating, and actually get my bidder list from the day that I spent doing that. It would have been a lot easier had the exhibit hall not been crowded with lots of other people who were all trying to get FaceTime with me. And so like this corporate only time in the exhibit hall is potentially really useful for you if you've got some goals in mind that you want to get to, versus when you go in and everyone is in there and sometimes you get sidetracked and you're like, I just spent an hour and a half in the exhibit hall and I didn't get to talk to the person I needed to talk to.
Well said. Yeah, well said, which is part of the reason to introduce this year. And there's a lot of new things that are being introduced, and depending on how successful they are moving forward, we'll potentially continue to build upon them. So one other thing, and I'd love to ask someone, so I'll let anybody who'd like to, but I know we've continued to evolve the corporate roundtables, which is one of, again, it's going to be 2 hours this year, thanks to everybody's request to make it longer, because I think it was an hour and a half last year, and the time just flew by, and not everybody got to finish the networking and benchmarking they wanted to. But I'd love to hear, I know Jaime, you weren't there last year, but Stephanie or Charles, if you participated, if you want to talk a little bit about how that's continued to evolve, and I'm happy to share a little bit more too about what we'll be doing this year as well.
well, I feel it's getting bigger and bigger. And what I personally like about it is all the topics. Topics are really on point. And you get to pick which topic you want to discuss. You get to rotate, and you get to hear everybody's point of view really on where they are with their company. And it's a safe environment where people can share best practice. You can share phone numbers, you can share contacts and have that person. I know I've kept contacts from prior corporate wine table and I still reach out to them, right? When I have a questions, but so that's what I like the most about it for sure. And it does go really fast. Yes.
Yeah. And I would shout out again to the Corporate Advisory Council. The topics are curated, and we do try to do our best to make sure it's hot topics, timely topics that we think folks will be interested in. And last year, and I believe it'll be the case this year too, is we picked a table facilitator who had a background and context and information to help keep the dialogue going, but to share some best practices or what they're seeing as well. So I think that brought a lot more like depth and value to the conversation, which I know, Charles, you talked about earlier. Like, how do I really have some takeaways that I go home with? Last year, we split the roundtable into kind of two. We had the traditional benchmarking roundtable sessions with the topics. And then we also had, if you wanted to, again, choose your own adventure. If you really just wanted to network, instead of having you at a table topic being disruptive because you just really want to network and meet people, we had a separate session or section that was set up just for networking. I helped facilitate that, and it was just a chance for people who just wanted to get to know other people, meet other people, and maybe they were in career transition. Like, it was just a really cool format for people just to have a general chat. Could be about a topic, could be about their experience. So we plan to have that this year. I think we're also planning a little something extra. So it'll be choose your own adventure with 3 options. I won't spoil the surprise. Show up for the corporate roundtables for that, but it's a really powerful session, empowered by corporates. The corporates put all of that together and think about the topics, and then of course everybody brings so much value to the dialogue and conversation. Awesome. Are there other things? I know, gosh, we still have quite a bit of time. Are there other things that folks would like to talk about that they're excited about for the conference that we maybe haven't gotten to enough depth on, or even, I don't know if there are any other questions that have come in from folks, but we really just want to get everybody really excited about Work Global 25, especially corporate attendees, and make sure that you're joining.
I'm excited about getting to see all of my friends and attend the fantastic receptions that go on. I mean, let's be honest, they're an amazingly fun part of the conference. Thursday Night Live, it's going to be a blast again, as always. So I'm those social aspects are one of the drivers to go as well.
And I would add on that too, maybe from a professional level, but it's at some of those events where I've really, I mean, Charles, you and I have hung out and talked. Like, you really get a chance to get to know people and network with them outside of a little bit outside of a business contact. And I think you form lifelong friendships and connections with people. I mean, Deb Convery at Stripe, hopefully she doesn't get mad, but I met Deb at a dinner event. I think it was in Chicago, Washington, DC. It was a long time ago. And Deb's like, we're going to work together someday. And we have worked together, and now we're on the board together. But it was just like, we just really hit it off. And just by happenstance, the supplier just happened to invite both of us, and we sat next to each other to dinner, right? And so, and we've just, she's been a friend connection, but also a work connection, and a good person I can reach out and benchmark to. Like Stephanie, you were saying, like people you've met at roundtables and phone numbers that you've exchanged. So yeah, so you just, take advantage of the week. And I know for many of us, we're also going to get pulled away because we have very time sensitive, critical jobs and roles that we do. And oftentimes our team, like Charles said, he has 2 members of his team coming with him. I have members of my team too. And you want them to be able to participate. So you might get pulled away, but as much as you can really be engaged in the entire event that week, the more you'll get out of it, right? The more you put in, the more you get out of it. So I'd highly encourage everyone to do that. I was going to say, I think there's a few questions coming in. Please feel free to keep the questions rolling. We're happy to answer everything that we can.
There's one about the survey, Tanya, that's going out to corporates to solicit topics.
So, thank you, Jaime. So for any corporate attendees who have already registered, yeah, there will be a survey that's going to be sent out to solicit some topics from you. And then also, like I was sharing, we love passionate table facilitator. So if there's a topic that's super timely and you have a lot of insight and passion around it, like please, you can also volunteer to be a facilitator at that table. We've had a lot of great people who have done that in the past and would love to see you join. And then I did want to make a note, although, so a couple of things, I'm going to teaser this out for you, but as of this morning, so for Work Global 25, we have over 1,000 people who have registered and over 300 of those are corporates. So, which is amazing. I'd love to see us. I think we set a record last year. We had a little over 400. I don't want to quote the exact number, but we had quite a number of folks who joined us. I would love, I know it's a tough time for a lot of companies and travel budgets like we talked about, but would love to see us exceed that number here at Work Global 25 in Salt Lake. And part of it is bias because I'm based here. I would love to see everybody come back here, but I think you're all going to have a fantastic time when you're here too. And so as much as we can get folks excited about attending, and again, because it's a lower cost opportunity. And then there is going to be, so this is a session just to share a little bit more about what to expect. There is going to be another session on September 30th, and all of the details for everything will be finalized by that time. I think the app will still be a little bit away, but the team then will also go into more details, I think, around some of the specific education sessions and other things that you can expect at the conference. So just a little teaser. Hopefully this whets your appetite and then you come back for more and a little bit more in-depth details too. Brought to you from other corporate members who are planning on attending and who have spent some time looking into the details. So stay tuned for that. And there's a question about, I think, Thursday Night Live and some of the parties. Those are all supplier sponsored and not necessarily through work. So I'd encourage you to follow up with another corporate member.
Once you register for the conference, the attendee list is shared with the party organizers, and that's how you get an invitation.
Yes, and there are more invitations than there is time, but again, it's a choose your own adventure, but I highly encourage folks as much as you can to participate in the Work Global conference and the events happening during the day. I think the education content, the speakers, et cetera, are really going to be top notch this year. And there's like little different performances like in the opening session. And I gave some input because it's here, but I don't know who they've picked. And so I am even personally super excited to find out what some of the performances are going to be and what local flavor they've added into the event. I know many of you, even my nephew was teasing me. Apparently I'm obsessed with swig, but dirty sodas are a thing here. Crumble cookies started here. You should expect cookies. You should expect dirty sodas. There'll definitely be a little bit of a Utah flair to the event. Utah, also, a lot of the parties I've noticed are themes. We really are out west. Things really are spread out, and we really do see people riding horses, and there are rodeos and things like that. So it's very much cowboy country. So hopefully you get a little bit of a feel for that too when you're out west here in Utah. This has been fabulous. If folks have any other questions, otherwise I'm happy to share just a little bit more details. And one of the other things that's really cool this year, that because there is just so much, I know like one of the questions was about like, will the content be recorded? And like, can I see it later? There's so much incredible content. We actually couldn't pack it all into the couple of days of Work Global. So, and I wrote down some of the dates because I wanted to make sure to be able to share them with you. But if you register for the conference, there's also some complimentary industry vertical webinars and panels that are happening pre-conference. So again, we just couldn't fit everything in, and you can sign up for those. The first one is coming up for US immigration, hot topic, on October 7th. Then on October 14th, there's a tax, payroll, and benefits operations and compliance. On October 16th, there's an RMC industry vertical panel. And then the week before, on October 22nd, there'll be a global immigration. So again, to kind of like lead up to the conference, but then also because there's just so much happening and so much great education content, we wanted to not kick anything out. We still wanted to include it. So we're going to give you an opportunity to get started on it coming up here in a few weeks. So something else to look forward to. And as you register, you'll get invites to sign up for those webinars as well. Amazing. Well, I just, Stephanie, Jamie, Charles, just thank you so much for sharing your excitement. Again, Jamie is someone who hasn't been in a long time. We'll have to hear post the conference if it lived up to your expectations. I'm hoping it exceeds, but just really appreciate your joining today. And I'd love to give everybody the opportunity as we close just to share anything that really you're most excited about, or what's the one can't miss thing at Work Global 25 for you?
I mean, I'm excited about all these things that you've mentioned, and so many of it is new to me, but I guess the thing I'm really most excited is the mentor and mentee program this year, Stephanie. As soon as I heard about it, I was quick to reach out and raise my hand. Even though I haven't been in a while, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I mentioned at the beginning that like I was kind of starting to lose value and lose my enthusiasm about the conference. But what I've realized now is like the conference is just as much about receiving as it is about giving back, right? And so I'm so excited to kind of handhold somebody that's new at the conference and help them see some of the I'll network with them and help introduce them to some of my network so they have people that they feel comfortable talking to besides just me, show them around, talk to them about, what sessions should we go to, but also to see the conference through their eyes, I think will be so energizing. So I'm super excited about that program.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Charles, for volunteering to do that. I think that's going to go a long way. I think you're exactly right. Our industry is all about giving and making you feel at ease. It's such a close family that for first timer to see them experience that, I think that's so exciting. Totally right.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't believe I've become an old timer in the industry, but I am. But I remember
I'm not. I'm not.
when I wasn't an old timer in the industry, and I went to these conferences and I made the connections that allowed me to call some
Yeah.
of those great names of the folks who've been leaders in this industry, and created the connection with them to be able to say, "Hey, Chris Colley, I have a question. May Caffey, I have a question. Can you help me with?" And so that's great. And even with like the corporate roundtables, I do oftentimes feel like I'm a net giver. I give more than I get in those sessions, and I don't care. I really don't, because I feel like it's taken me a long time to get the information that I've gotten, and the ability to share it and pass it on to the future folks who are going to be running this industry is a really important thing for me to do.
Absolutely. Those are all great shares. And I would say too, I won't speak for everyone here, but we're all really passionate about our industry and what we do. And as you heard Charles say, giving back. If you see any of us, but me for sure at the conference, and you need a friendly face, or you need pointed in the right direction, or you have questions on anything, feel free to reach out to other folks in your network. Maximize the opportunity that you have when you're at this conference to network and to learn. And I just, in closing, and hopefully you picked it up from all this, we're all very excited for lots of different reasons about why as a corporate you should attend Work Global 25, which is complimentary, which is free for corporates. And again, just a big shout out. Thank you to all our sponsors for making this possible. We appreciate you. You're an important part of our ecosystem. So I am looking forward to seeing all of you that were on the call, but all of you who are listening in today in Salt Lake City this October. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.